5 minutes after the private confirmation reached the royal household, Prince William and Catherine made the announcement no one was ready to hear. King Charles's health had taken a tragic turn, forcing the family into emergency talks about duty, succession, and survival. What began as a private medical update became the moment the monarchy felt heartbreak in public. William did not rush toward the announcement. He stood over it like a man staring at a sentence that had the power to split his life in two. Catherine remained beside him, close enough to feel the change in his breathing, quiet enough to let him carry the first shock alone. The senior royal duties would now be urgently reviewed. This meant the palace was preparing for a possible shift in who carried the crown's daily weight. Catherine watched the prince read the final line twice. His hand tightened around the page, then slowly loosened, as if even his fingers understood that anger could not change what had been written. Charles was not in the room when the confirmation was prepared, and that absence struck everyone harder than any spoken warning. The king had always been the center of these decisions. Now, the monarch's silence became the loudest proof that something deeper had broken behind the palace walls. The sealed health update had arrived after a private palace briefing, a controlled meeting where trusted medical advisors delivered confidential information before any public statement. William finally placed the paper down. That restraint made the moment more devastating. Catherine saw not just the future king, but a son fighting to keep his grief hidden. A private instruction moved through the household. No unnecessary movement, no public denial, and no informal comment from any royal office until William spoke. William looked toward Catherine before the final confirmation was released. She gave him no speech, only a steady presence, and that was enough. Behind the palace walls, the announcement landed differently on every heart. For William, it was childhood fear returning. For Catherine, a call to stand beside him. For Charles, it was the cruelest reminder that even a king cannot command time. And for Camilla, it was the beginning of a loneliness no title could soften. This crisis began not with a headline, but with a dinner. At Windsor, Charles reached for his glass, stopped mid-conversation, and looked toward William. William noticed the change before anyone named it. The prince had been listening, but then the monarch's voice weakened. Catherine saw his fingers press against the edge. Charles tried to continue. He forced another sentence, then stopped again. William pushed back his chair. The sun was gone, and the protector stood in his place. Catherine later found William alone in a corridor, staring toward Charles's closed door. He carried the knowledge that a father's weakness could become a nation's turning point. Nothing felt as dangerous as the private confrontation that followed. No cameras, just William, Catherine, Camilla, and Charles. With the truth between them like a blade, Camilla demanded an answer. She wanted to know why William and Catherine had spoken first, and why Charles's condition had been placed before the public with such honesty. William answered with quiet fury. He told the queen consort that hiding the truth would have made the family look cruel, and cruelty would have damaged the crown far more than honesty. Catherine stepped forward before the argument broke open. She reminded them that Charles was still sitting there, still listening, still human beneath the title. Charles finally spoke. The king revealed he had personally approved William and Catherine's role. The crown needed one steady voice, and he had made clear whose voice that was. William did not look victorious. The prince looked devastated. Then Camilla heard the second truth. Certain responsibilities could move to William sooner than expected. The king had not only confirmed his trust, he had confirmed a shift. Camilla understood it. Catherine felt it. William carried it. From that moment, the crisis was no longer only about health, grief, or family pain. It had moved into control, and control was where the palace became most dangerous.